University. We are doing that part two because this was so amazing, man. Make sure y'all check out part one. Like, share, and subscribe. We doing them investments talk, man, because mastering emotional intelligence is one thing we're seeing that many traders need to do in this day and time. And if they're not taking themselves to the next level, then it's going to be a problem. And if it's not something that we doing on a recurring basis, then it's going to be hard for us as people to take ourselves to the next level. Because this moment is critical. Mastering emotional intelligence is the name of the game, and in order for us to be a better version of ourselves, we have to be focused. We have to be able to master this particular A, B, and C concept and make sure that we are always sticking to our trading plan. And one way that we are doing that was with our master trader, brother Ivan Smith, brother IQ Heavy. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you call him if you're trying to make that cheese. And we're gonna get right into the play, strong ahead. He's also gonna talk to us about making sure things that we can do on a technical level to make sure that we transform ourselves, that we focus on our skill set. And so that's going to be the name of the topic.
How you doing, everybody? You hear me well?
Yes, sir. You already know. You already know.
Okay, it's good to be here. How you doing? Go by IQ Heavy, everybody know. If you don't know, now you know. And as far as what we get up from last time, we was talking about emotional intelligence, so we can just dive right in. So ain't gonna be here for a long time, but we're gonna be here for a good time. So what we like to touch on first on the emotional intelligence side of it is just making sure we understand setting a plan. We were speaking on goals before, making sure we got a goal. If you don't have a plan and you don't have a goal, then you are setting yourself up to fail. So the best way to put yourself in position is more of like a ABC situation. So you want to know what you're going to do. You want to have a plan for what you will do, and you want to have a plan for what you won't do. So presented any option, you already have a plan for what you do in said situation. That gives you the ability to have emotional intelligence. So, quick example, you can read the room and you can make a situation worse by doing something preemptively. You could wait for something to occur based off the read you made and then react. Your reaction should be based off your disciplines. Your disciplines should be based off your rules. The first rule was read. The second rule was react. React will be exactly how you're supposed to react because it'll be based off what you anticipated because you read. Either it's left or I'm going to go right or I'm going to do nothing. That's ABC. So you've read the room, you've chosen what you're going to do when everything does transpire. So you're going to go left, you're going to go right, or you're going to do nothing at all. But that gave you the ability to not have to move on emotion.
Mm.
You have emotional intelligence at that point, as well as emotional discipline, because you are only moving on your rules. So it'll give you the scenario where when everybody you see a herd of people running, you know, you notice a lot of people, everybody runs when everybody's running. And sometimes you don't know what's going on, and it could put you in a worse situation. Having emotional intelligence will give you the ability to read, look left, look right, see what's going on, understand if you should run. This might not even be a scenario where you need to run, and it might save your life doing nothing. And then sometimes you'll read that situation and you'll see, oh man, they're running from a bull. I need to run to get out of the way of the bull. In another situation, you'll understand I don't need to run. I just need to go this way to get out the way of the drama that is ensuing. And that is the best way to break down emotional intelligence so you can have your quick ABC. So you got your one, two, three, and keep it as far as your rules. It's
Amen, bro.
applicable in life. You apply it to trading, apply it to your lifestyle, apply it to parenting. Remember, the kid is always going to come to you asking for a bunch of things. It is your job to guide them, not to force them, but to guide them. You want to let them have the ability to make their own decisions as well. So that's the point of us being parents. We want to teach them the way, not force the way down their throat. So giving them the ability to understand you need to read what's going on, not discipline them because they don't understand what's going on, nor go at them because they've made the wrong decision, because they didn't have enough wherewithal, because they don't have the experience you have. You have to teach them. Give them the ability to make a decision. And upon making those decisions, they'll be able to learn from their actions because we're teaching them as we're guiding them along the way.
Mm. That's good, bro. That's good. That's so good, bro. That's so good. 'Cause that's so relevant. Just being able to stay emotionally disciplined, and using that analogy as a child, because that's exactly how it can feel whenever we're learning something new. And trading is no different. It's a new language. It's a new way of doing. It's a new way of experiencing. And so we have to just be patient with ourselves, and make sure that we are first reading and then reacting, as opposed to just moving off impulse. Because to your point, when we don't stick to our plan, if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. And so if we don't stick to our plan, that's the issue. Or at the minimum, not having a plan. Or when it comes to your point of, if you weren't there for last week, right? Or what our brother said, if you went to the store for A, B, and C again, and end up with D, E, F, then you have a problem with emotional intelligence. And so that's the focus of making sure that we are honing our mind in, making the plan much more simpler. Because a lot of times you already have positions. You probably just need to focus more in on your positions, as opposed to starting to try to just trying to hit everything on the market. That's it takes time to test, and it also takes time for your particular cash flow. It's finite, even though sometimes it feels like you can always get infinite amount. You have to be honest with your average daily cash flow, your monthly needs, your expenses, what needs to come out. 'Cause a lot of this then becomes also budgeting rather than rushing.
Because I ain't gonna lie to you, you really don't. You want to make sure you practice these because it gives you the ability to not have what we call FOMO in my field, which is fear of missing out. So to have you do something drastic, like see something go up really high, you decide, oh man, I got $10,000. I want to throw it into the market real quick so I could try to make a lot of money. But because you're not practicing what we were talking about, which is having the emotional intelligence, you're going to make an irrational decision based off of how you feel. So your fear of missing out to make that potential gain might cause you to miss because you're going to now possibly lose $10,000 if the market draws down on you because you weren't going in based off of what your principles were, which is read, react, and assess. If something's going to go up exactly the way you expect it to, you want to be a part of it. 10,000 wouldn't have been your entry point. Maybe start with 2,000 and see if it does do exactly what you expected it to do. If it does, you've made money. If it doesn't, you've only lost 2,000 out of that 10,000, but you learned a lesson and you stay disciplined to your habit to make sure that you were paying attention to your rules, not FOMOing in. You jumped in, you seen something, you assessed it, it made a move, you reacted, and but due to your reaction, you made money. And if you good with making sure you're mitigating your losses, because again, having the emotional intelligence is also knowing when to get out of something. So you needed to know your entry point and your exit point before you ever jumped in. And that doesn't always mean it's going to go in your favor. So your exit could be below the point you jumped in, but you have to have enough discipline to know exactly where that point is to know when to cut your losses.
That's so good.
So
That's so good. I talk to the people about how they can get better at knowing when to cut the losses. If you don't mind just asking, brother.
oh, that's based off the technical. So you want to get your support levels together. That's just reading. That's again the principles for the first part, which is reading the room. This is reading the room, but based it on reading the charts. So in this situation, a stock or crypto has a high and a low. They have it of the month. They have it of the week. They have it of the day. You can go on your charts on Thinkorswim. You can go on your charts on TradingView. You can go on your charts on Webull. Hell, you can even go on your charts on Robinhood. And you can look at the monthly and see what the low was as well as the high. And you can look on the daily and you can look on the weekly. When you look at those confluences, you'll see a number that keeps popping up. At the bottom of the range, you'll notice that it keeps coming up, a certain specific number. At the top of the range, you'll notice there's a number it just doesn't seem to get above. And there's a number it just doesn't seem to get below. Those are your entry and exit points when you're swinging a long trade. So, giving yourself 30, 60, 90 days to give yourself the ability to have time to make money, being disciplined. Now, if we're looking at it for just a trade for the day, that's on a smaller time frame. That's when we're looking at the 1 hour to 4 hour to 30 minute, and you're looking for confluence as well. Break above trends, break above the 50-day, break above the 200, bounces off the 50, bounces off the like. There's technical support levels that actually give you a support line to tell you the exact level that it bounced off of. So those are the levels you play from. So you will put your entry at the level of the bottom, and you will put your exit at the point of the top. Now, this is to make money. Now, to mitigate losing money, you also want to put a stop loss below the level that you got in
Mm.
to whatever your comfort level is. I usually do about 3 to 5%, but I won't lose any more than that. So in any trade, when I'm in something, it's either I'm going to win the trade or I'm going to cut my losses. It's that simple. We live to fight another trade, and I'll tell you every day. Most people will tell you they win the trades all the time. But they won't tell you they lose trades all the time. I lose trades all the time. Everyone does. But the point is, when you're shooting the way we're shooting with discipline, you can lose 5 trades in a row. When you finally hit your correct trade, it'll erase every trade you lost because we were only losing
Man,
3 to 5% of the time. We weren't losing the whole bag.
that's it, man. That's it right there, man. That's wisdom that we must imply, that we must take ourselves to the next level, because it definitely is key for us to be able to see the way money works, and for us to be more disciplined in that. So that's definitely good game received. And so before we close out, because we got a shorter one today, we want to make sure we give the people a strong ahead. We got want to give the people that strong ahead. Because again, really a strong in review first. Give it just a review of what the weak brought or the strong brought, and then strong ahead of what they should also be looking into. If you don't mind us asking. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's that childpreneur program, that lovepreneur program. That's it, man. Taking care of the child.
Playing around, sucking to our counselor last week. It was looking like she definitely is. Yeah, but I told her what you're doing it for. You got to make sure you got a plan. So
Amen.
that's
Amen,
all it
man.
really be setting up a foot. But to get back to this week is we actually had some downplay in the market this week. We got some fear. Can you hear me still good?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yeah, Palantir definitely brought some fear from the market.
Yeah, but don't be nervous. It's just a drawdown. Once Palantir got to 123, once it got to 120, I was already expecting it to pull back because that's the psychological level for most people. Because nobody really knows what Palantir does for the most part. They just buy into the company. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't know actually what Palantir does. So they got to get back to the basics so everybody understands that they're worth the evaluation. That's everybody's giving them. But what just happened recently in the crypto market that's also affecting the stock market is there was a hack on Bybit for I believe $1.4 billion worth of ETH, which is Ethereum. So that spooked the market a little bit. And right before that, we had a president of not El Salvador, but a president of Argentina. He released a coin, and he basically rug pulled all of his supporters. So all of the people that bought into the coin, they sold the coin at a premium and dropped it on everybody else. So everybody else lost a lot of money to the tune of about $4.5 billion. So the markets have been pulling back because we've been looking for a correction for the year. However, this is only going to lead into a bigger correction to the upside. So if you're looking to get plays in the market right now, any options you do, you want to make sure you go all the way out to May. That way, you've given yourself the safety ability to avoid the downturn that's going to possibly keep extenuating into March and giving yourself the ability to get the big pop that's going to happen in April. So that way, you're protecting yourself. As far as plays that you would be looking into, a lot of the crypto sector is going to appear to be down and uninvestable. That is the plays you want to get into. So, Mara, you might see Mara come down as low as 12 and $11 in a near couple of weeks. I'm telling you, you see it, that's a buy. You see Riot come down to about 10 as well, that's a buy. What you'll notice is what's happening is the correction in the market is allowing the two main players of Mara and Riot to recorrect back to where they were. I've watched Mara and Riot for quite a bit of time. They're usually only about $2 to $3 apart from each other at any given point in time, usually the most 5 to 10. So with them being so far apart as of the last few months, there was always a correction that was coming to bring Mara and Riot within $3 to $5 of each other. So now that Mara is currently $14, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Riot is around $10 to $11, we are pretty much close to the correction zone. But this correction zone is going to lead to a very, very big breakout. So we'll see Mara run to about $60 to $80. You're going to see Riot run to about $40. This is after they've bottomed out. The bottoming out process is going to allow Bitcoin to accumulate all of the money that was sitting on the sideline because we have quantitative easing coming in. Right now, we are in QT, which is quantitative tightening, which in layman's terms means the Fed is taking money out of the system, not allowing money to really grow. Quantitative easing is putting money into the system, allowing assets to flourish to the moon. Any quantitative easing yet because the Fed has not cut interest rates yet. We are not looking, we're going to get interest rate cuts until after. So at this point, the market is digesting everything and it's going to correct to the downside. There's over $7 trillion on the sideline of money that has not come into the market that the market is very aware of. With that information, the top assets in the world are held by BlackRock. So if you ever needed to figure out where to invest your money, if you were looking, BlackRock's a pretty good place to start. So if you see what they're buying and they're holding, it might be in your vested interest to buy and hold what they were holding. So back to the Mara and the Riot, they hold both of those positions. And they hold those positions with quite a bit of shares and quite a bit of equity in their companies, as well as MicroStrategies, as well as IBIT, as well as IBIT, which is a different one from the IBIT, but IBITF, which is another one, well, BITF, sorry, which is another one, and CIFR, which is another one. But they hold these shares in Bitcoin because these miners hold Bitcoin. So the play here is that they're holding Bitcoin, and I'm giving you guys plays right now that are going to give you the ability to hold Bitcoin without actually ever buying one. So if you ever wanted to get invested in Bitcoin, which I highly recommend, you should look into companies like Mara, look into companies like Riot, look into companies like Hut 8, companies like Cypher, CIFR, companies like BITF. These plays will go 5X's, 4X's, some 10X, just based on the Bitcoin pair evaluation, because Bitcoin will go to over 200,000 per coin before the end of the year. So playing these stocks that I just gave you just now, which I hope you were writing them down, but if not, go back to the recording. You're gonna want to make sure you plan those 6 months at a time to 6 months at a time to give you the ability to optimize the most potential out of the ability to capture that upside. Because it's gonna happen in like a 10-day span, and it's gonna give you the ability to make to basically 50x your money. I kid you not. So again, we're looking at BITF. That's for my penny plays. Anybody on the lower tier, you need something in the price range of under $2. BITF is where you want to start. BITF is going to go to about $5 to $8. That's the first one on the list. The next one on the list, Riot. Riot is going to go from its current price now to $20 to $40 in the next 6 to 8 months. You want to position yourself well. The next one is Mara. It's going to go from 14 or whatever the low is for her, because she might still pull down to, like I said, the $11 range. She's going up to $80, to $60 to $80. I'm sorry. This is not based off of speculation. This is based off of a mathematical equation. When Bitcoin does a certain percentage, these companies will do that percentage on the math just based off the amount of Bitcoin they currently hold. What I'm telling you is not even based off the company doing it based off the company. That's a whole nother subdivision of the company's ability to make money. So the company has the ability to go a lot higher than what's anticipated. But what I'm giving you are the numbers based off of it going up, based off of its Bitcoin pair, based off of how many Bitcoin they already have on the balance sheet.
That's good. That's good, man. And those are some plays right there for us to think about. Some just takeaways I heard from that. Just making sure that you are seeing different ways that you can get exposure to different assets if you didn't necessarily have access to that asset. Being able to actually expose yourself with companies that are heavily invested is another method. And to brother's point, make sure y'all are aware of that pullback. Get the positions that are way out past May so that you're focused and so that you're not feeling rushed, so that you're not feeling pressured. Again, Bitfarm, Riot, Amara, Riot, in particular. Also look at HUD 8, different things like that. Taking it to the next level because this is going to be critical. That we are ahead of the curve, and that's the key. Just being able to have delayed gratification, right? Because that's mastering emotional intelligence, and that's what it's going to take for us to be able to take ourselves to the next level and be our very best. This is a shorter one. This is a shorter one, but we got still the sauce, still the gems in there. Hope y'all dropped them. Hope y'all picked them up because my boy was dropping them, dropping them. I'm talking about. And so before we close out, bro, do you have anything you want to talk to the people about, or say to the people, or
Now, just
just leave
making
them
sure
on?
you stay. Now, just making sure they stay focused in this journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. A lot of people looking for the instant gratification, but you want to give yourself the delayed gratification because it's going to put you in a situation where you could quit your job. Because most people, they'll get a certain amount of money and they'll quit their job immediately. I say replace your job with the income that you're making here. And then you can retire from the job you were working to continue to do what you're doing here to make the money you were making. But you could prove to yourself that you could do this on that level simply by replacing the job you're currently working at first, by having the lack of instant gratification, going with the delayed gratification, giving yourself 3 months, 6 months to a year, and doing it while you're at a job. So you can see while I'm at work, my money's working for me to the point that I don't have to work here anymore. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I promise you.
Amen. Amen, 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 amen. And on that note, we dropped them gems. Make sure y'all check out the replay. This is part two, right? So part one is even longer, right? And bro was dropping it. He had some analogies in there that y'all gotta hear. Next week we taking it to the next level, right? We might do a part three, man. Mastering emotional intelligence has so many layers, and so we're gonna probably be more technical with next week. So keep focused, stay on the journey. You can do this. Amen.